don't start cutting instantly. I want you to look at the brain. This is a sheep brain. This is looking from the dorsal side. And we've got a lot of this thick membrane. See that thick membrane? Gosh, what do you think that durable looking membrane is?
Dura mater.
That's the dura mater. We're going to be removing that in a minute. You notice that this is dorsal brain. This is going to be rostral. This is going to be caudal. Back here, you can see that twisted a little bit now. That's cerebellum, and this sticking out past that is actually going to be spinal cord at this point. Let's turn them over. Y'all see sick yet? And we're going to look for some structures. This is still the rostral end up here. I've got that rostral as top. And right in that area is where somebody ripped off the olfactory bulbs. As we look through the different brains available, we're going to have some structures will show up better on one brain, some structures show up better on the next brain. So it's not a bad idea to actually rotate around a little bit and look at other people's brains and see if they have something that shows up better. Their olfactory bulbs are going to be in that location. Coming back here a little bit, we have some tissue here and some tissue there. This is just some of the connective tissue, and this is not quite so much bone on this one. On the ventral side of the brain. But this little bump right there, this nice little bump, right in the middle of this whole thing is the pituitary gland. You're going to be removing some of this tissue, but don't remove all of it, because you're going to wind up with, oh, that's nice. Okay.
We're going to show you olfactory bulbs.
These are better olfactory bulbs here. These did not get ripped off.
That's the only one that has.
It's the nicest set that we've got, so whoever gets this brain, don't destroy those things. Get a good look here. Also, this is also showing us a nicer optic chiasm here.
You can have that one.
We have, let's go ahead and move that up just a little bit. I think I will keep this one. Ha ha ha.
Then everybody gets to see.
Yes, this way everybody gets to see it. Olfactory bulbs, pituitary, connective tissue and bone, base of the brain, and looking up here between the olfactory bulb and pituitary, we've got these two things sticking out like that. See them? That shows up pretty well. That's the optic chiasm, and it's usually not practical to completely remove the dura off that because it just tears them up. But this is optic nerves, cranial nerve number 2. They do actually cross at that point, and then these little ends here, will be going to the eyeball. When we do the eyeballs, I hope next week, you'll be seeing the other end of that optic nerve. It'll be fun. You'll love it. Move back a little bit, and then this particular one also. We still have a bunch of dura on this, but here's the pituitary, and just caudal to that, there's a kind of a bump there and a bump there. That bumps are the pons. Another way to identify the pons is you sort of have to look sideways here. This would be the cerebellum, and we sort of followed the junction between the cerebellum and the cerebrum kind of down, and that will be taking us just to the leading edge of the pons, because these are the fibers that are crossing from one side of the cerebellum to the other. At this point, you've identified a lot of the outside structures. Let me ask you a question. Which one of the 3 big main parts of the brain is this?
Cerebrum.
Cerebrum. How about that?
Cerebellum.
Cerebellum. How about that?
Brainstem.
Brainstem, roughly enough. You already noticed that we've got the dura mater here. I'm trying to start removing some of this and trying to take too long about it either.
How about medulla oblongata?
That's going to be the caudal part of the brainstem right before it turns to the spinal cord, so it's going to be right in that area, roughly enough. And there's lots and lots and lots more structures to be identified on the brain that we're going to go over.